Good morning. Whatever is good about mornings, right? Maybe some of you out there enjoy mornings. Can't say I do. But anyway. How's it going? Haven't seen you since last year. Mm-hmm. Does anyone make that joke unironically? Like, how much of a dad do you have to be to pull that one? Unironically. Yeah, Happy New Year. Who does that? Who does anything, right? Who does anything? Who does anything you consider normal, right? Depending on who you ask, the exact same thing can be either perfectly normal or totally weird or smart or stupid or, you know. One person's saint is another person's scumbag and all that. Fascinating world, isn't it? Yeah, I know. It would be pretty boring if everybody agreed. I feel like the world would run much more smoothly, but it would probably be a little bit boring. But I feel like it would be better if people were a little bit more accepting of different views and ideas. Wouldn't that be nice? If it was like, oh, you see this differently. Interesting. As opposed to, you are wrong and I hate you. Ah! Right? Anyway. Your hair still looks amazing. Thank you. I go to songs, see people go 20xx. Anyone, I go 2025, get on my level. In the year 20xx. I remember that from the 90s. You know, there were a bunch of games that were like, it's the year 20xx. And none of the predictions came to pass except the dystopia part. We're getting there. Did you ever try Fallout 76? Nah. It's like as soon as I knew that this is like mainly online multiplayer, I was like, nope. Not for me. Screw that. You're right and I still hate you. See? At least you're mixing it up now. I hate the fact that you're being right. I don't want to get into politics, but I saw something recently that was pretty much an admission of just that. Wrapped in, but we gotta propagandize harder to beat their facts. It's like, that was jarring. But at least honest-ish. Honest about being dishonest. Anyway, I said I don't want to get into it, but it just stuck in my mind because, like, really? Dystopian novels. This was supposed to be a warning, not a manual. Yeah, I've seen that sentiment before. Never change. You're amazing. No. If you never change, you don't improve. I mean, over the past 4 years, I've been changing and for the worse, I feel like. Definitely with regards to health and fitness and all that. So change isn't always good. Maybe I at least matured some more mentally. Did I? Yeah, I think so. A little bit. A little bit closer to old man in rocking chair on porch going, "Get off my lawn, kids!" Getting there. Another 10 years, that's exactly where I'll be. Never change as in never stop improving. So, never change your constant attempts at improving, is what I'm getting. Sometimes it is just attempts, sadly. Ah, coffee. Coffee, I need you in my life. I cannot function without you. There's probably a parallel Earth where I say that about cocaine. Anyway. That's an interesting question. Can a medieval knight beat an MMA fighter in grappling? I'm gonna assume the usual you would assume, being all things being equal, that both are equally fit and, blah, whatever. Similarly experienced, like same age, etc., etc. Which is a very artificial scenario, but assuming all that, I have no idea, is the short answer. No, I think my money would be on the MMA fighter, for two reasons. One, the MMA fighter spends even more time training those skills. Obviously, knights would have trained a lot, but the thing is, a knight had a number of skills he needed to train, right? Grappling was one of those, but there was plenty. An MMA fighter, especially if it's someone who specializes on grappling, like does, 80% jiu-jitsu or whatever, would spend a lot more time on that, especially if it's a professional fighter, which I'm going to assume because a knight is a professional fighter, right? So the MMA fighter would probably practice grappling more, even more, and also have better nutrition and sports science, or, not better, but at all, you know what I mean. And steroids. Let's not forget about that. So, yeah, I do think the MMA fighter has the advantage there just by means of modern enhancements, even without steroids. Protein powder. Knights got paid, so do MMA fighters. I mean, the professional ones. You have a lot of hair for your age? I don't really know what to do with that. It feels like at best it's like a a veiled compliment, or like a compliment with a big butt, or it's like a veiled diss. I don't know. I'm not sure about the vibes on that one. For your age, you have a lot of hair. Uh-huh. Is that so? For an old fart. I've always had a high hairline, okay? In my 20s, I had a huge forehead already. Anyway. I did not have Skull talking about cocaine when I opened the stream on my bingo card. Well, there you go. Now you've got that. There's a first for everything. Bro, I'm 27 and my 30-year-old brother is balding. I'm horrified. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people who mentioned that they were starting to bald in their teenage years, like the first signs of it. Like, damn, genetics are a bitch. I mean, I remember Age Bomber guy joking about growing bald within the next 15 minutes. That was a few years ago, and yeah, we're there now. It's one of those things. A lot of people get shit for it because, like, yeah, well, you're supposed to have hair, right? So, bald guys are kind of have a flaw. They're marred. Same thing as with height. It's like, okay, so you may not like it, but the fuck is that guy supposed to do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can get hair transplants and everything, but that's expensive. You know, expensive for just vanity, and not everybody takes well to it, or like, depending on how far it's progressed, there may not be too much to save, or I don't know. It's like, why don't you criticize people for something they can affect? You know, that ain't one. Balding early means enhanced testosterone, usually. It has to do with testosterone, but at the same time, it's mostly genetics, because genetics determine how sensitive your hair follicles are to, well, not testosterone, but the byproduct. What the hell was it? I forgot. But like, there's something produced in your scalp, a byproduct of testosterone production, and you know, that's what's being blocked by. I can't remember the stuff. I can't remember anything right now. I can't remember what's commonly prescribed for hair loss. Anyway, who cares? You know what I mean. Thank you. How do you pronounce that? There's so many different ways to pronounce that. Midojed. I'm sorry. I really don't know. Either way, thank you. Even though I can't pronounce your name. So I wrote a fantasy book. Hero at the end basically becomes a speedster, but he can only speed up his mind. Basically, he sees in slow-mo but moves like other people. How strong you think it is? Some interesting weapons he should use. That's still pretty strong. Obviously, nowhere near as potent as being a full speedster, but that's still quite useful, actually. Because I find quite often that's really the issue when fighting, like in sparring. Sometimes I've had so many moments in sparring where I'm like, oh shit, here it comes, or I realize what's happening, but it's happening too fast, or I realized it too late. So I as I'm being hit, or as it's too late to do something about it, I realize what's happening, right? So if you got that going, it would be like having super reflexes. So you see that anticipatory twitch in the shoulder or whatever, you see the blade start to move forward. You're like, here it comes. And, even though you don't move any faster, you can still work with that quite effectively. So you would be a much better fighter if you had that compared to someone who doesn't. There's a question that I was just thinking about. Should I reply to that? But I don't think I should. You can probably guess which one. Greetings from Newfoundland. Oh, I'm sorry. You're already getting the first snow dump of the year, aren't you? I saw that in the forecast. Apparently, we're safe here from it, but yeah, Newfoundland and part of Nova Scotia too, like around Cape Breton, are getting quite a dump. Not super crazy, but yeah, I wouldn't like that. Now I got sidetracked by that. What were you saying? Ever consider looking at the fisherman's gaff hook as a possible melee weapon? Huh. A gaff hook. What's it look like? Yeah, I don't think that would be as effective. I actually talked about using a meat hook as a weapon, like in the my Halloween special for 2021, I believe it was. I talked about slasher weapons, and one of them was the meat hook. And so I talked about the pros and cons of that. That's pretty relevant, except that a meat hook is sturdier. Like it's larger and thicker, and has a much more, well, I shouldn't say more substantial handle. It has a different handle. I actually prefer the handle on the gaff hook, but kind of similar. The usual gaff is almost a polearm. Oh, really? When I just looked it up, I was not seeing anything that large. Let me give it another look. Yeah, I'll show you too what I'm looking at. I was just seeing these here. Right? That looks like a fairly small one. Actually, that does look very similar to a meat hook. Yeah, I was looking at this. That doesn't look as substantial as a meat hook. Okay, that's pretty long. Okay, those do come in pretty large. Well, in that case, if you have what? It's almost a sickle. If you have one at the end of a pole, oh, there we go. That's what you mean. Yeah, I can see that. The only problem is I don't think you could strike with that effectively, because if you're hitting with that at the end of a pole, the angle is such that I think you would strike. Hang on. I think you would strike with the curved part of the hook rather than the point, because like the point goes downward, right? So you could maybe do like a vertical strike and try to get it to land with a point, but I think you would generally end up hitting with a curve, just because it's so strong. Like essentially the point goes downward, like the opposite direction of the pole. So I don't think you would really be able to deploy that hook. It's not designed to be used for striking, so obviously. Thank you, Logan. No questions, just thanks for the uploads. I enjoy history and you help scratch that itch. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed. Or them, rather. Could be a bludgeon anti-cavalry thing, maybe? Yeah, potentially. Although for that, you would want a more open hook. The problem with this is that like it curves so strongly that there isn't much space to hook anything. Normally, like anti-cavalry weapons, if they do have a hook, it's more perpendicular, more or less. So like if you have such a curved hook, nothing much would fit into it other than an arm, maybe. You know what I mean? I hope the channel's going better now. Well, it's still an uphill grind. Lately, it seems like now that I'm putting up more shorts videos again, that seems to help. For a while, it was supposed to be counterproductive, but it seems like now, because YouTube is pushing shorts so much, it does seem like it might be affecting the long form content to the exposure. Because so far, it's been, the situation has been that if you put up more shorts videos, then people will get funneled to those and they will just watch other shorts videos, but not your long form videos, which is probably still the case to an extent, but anyway, who cares, right? I don't like shorts, but I watch yours for this algorithm. Yeah, I get it. I'm not a fan of shorts either. I try to make them as entertaining as possible. Like sometimes there are things, like points that I can make in just a minute that I wouldn't really need much more time for. Like you can always elaborate more, but there are some topics that you can definitely condense to about a minute. By the way, just want to show you something I got recently. You may have seen that in a recent video where I took like one cut with it for comparison. This is a sword that someone sent me as a gift, like explicitly. I said, hey, I don't know when I'll be able to get around to it because I have so much piled up and busy and everything. But he said, no, it's fine. I just want you to have that as a gift. And I'll probably test it anyway, just because, hey, I have it and it's going to be interesting. I just don't know when. But I just want to show you. Right? So as you can see, it's hella curved. One of those technical terms, hella curved. So that's what makes it interesting. Wouldn't it be funny if, like, in this stream, I slice my thumb open? Too bad I have too much experience handling swords to do that. But I'm sure it would be entertaining. Suddenly there's blood everywhere. Anyway. So, here's something that I should talk about in a video as well. The idea that katanas cut so well because they're curved. I mean, it's not just because they're curved. People usually say it's because they're curved and because they're super crazy sharp, right? I'm not actually a fan of this, I have to say. And also it very much debunks the claim that curved swords auto-align. I've talked about that before. Let me just read out these super chats here to not make people wait, but I'll get back to that in a moment. It's not a no-dachi, by the way. Thanks, Vane. Was playing a game and saw characters wearing male under gambesons. Is that accurate? I looked it up and found conflicting answers. To me, it seems it would just take away padding. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. Like, in practical terms, I believe, like, I'm not an expert on armor in particular, but I believe that probably comes from wearing overcoats. Like, you may have a gambeson and then mail, and then over top of that you have some kind of overcoat. Right? So that may look like you're wearing a gambeson on top. Oh. but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You do need the padding under the mail rather than over. You can cover the mail in cloth that has some benefits, you know, like some protection against the elements, and layers are always good. Whoa, thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. I appreciate the generous super chat with a pair riding fireworks. Okay. And exploding with it. Damn. Rest in peace, Bear. Hey, Arnab. Haven't seen you in a while, and thank you. All the videos I watch in 2024, the amount of swords and blades you put in the videos are insane. You surely look like a kid in a candy shop. Yeah, it happens. Okay. Yeah, you can wear a brigandine over mail, but you'd still want some kind of padding under the mail. Okay, so back to this. So this idea that curved swords auto-align somehow and, you know, make edge alignment easier. No, nah. This is actually... That's kind of the opposite. You have to control this more rather than less, because it's so strongly curved. Where do I even hold it? Like, watch as I relax my grip. That's what it wants to do. Like it's because of the curvature, it kind of wants to tip to one side or another, which is like you can counteract that. And in fact, the grip that's used with Japanese swords does work pretty well for that, because you're holding it pretty firmly, like you're making sure that it doesn't rotate in the hand. But still, I find even when holding it like this and swinging it, I do feel like it still wants to tip. So this is actually harder to align. Still effective, obviously, as long as you do your job. This is sharp, and the curvature, yeah, that's definitely going to give you more of a slicing cut. But it's a bit awkward, I gotta say. And thrusts, I mean... you can do it, but not ideal with this. But it's definitely interesting. Also, usually I complain about the wrap, you know, like the knots being weird and the manuki just feels like it gets in the way and it's irritating. Not the case on this. This wrap is feels pretty good. Like the knots are not super firm enough to give you a good grip, but it's still not my favorite kind of grip. I still prefer a flat grip, but I really don't mind it too much on this. So it's kind of cool. Anyway. It's actually the shape of the handle that helps with edge alignment, not the curvature of the blade. You mean like a curved handle? I don't feel like it does that either. I feel like a straight handle is still easier to use and align the blade. Now, of course, this could just be my bias because I'm more used to straight handles, right? Because even curved swords with curved blades usually have straight handles. There are only a few that have curved ones. And you'd think there might be a reason for it, right? I think what could be meant by auto-aligning is more like the weather vane effect, only works while swinging. Yeah, I've heard that, and it doesn't seem to do that either. Like, I always find even when swinging it, there's still a tendency for it to want to tip. So this might be one of those cases where the principle physically is true when applied to certain things. Like a loose object, whatever. Like a loose object flying through the air, as opposed to holding on to something. There might be something to it. But I don't think it applies to swords. I really don't. At least not from what I can tell. Thank you, Phoenix Paw. How are things going over there in Sweden? Curved blades are harder to aim and use. Straight blades are easier, coming from a curved blade user. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the amount of curvature. Like if you're talking about a katana or a Kriegsmesser or whatever, they're slightly curved. It's really not that big of a deal. The difference between slight curvature and straight blade is not all that crazy. Whereas very strongly curved, like this one, or like a Shamshir, yeah, that's a different story. And that is a little bit more challenging. I mean, you can cut with them well. It's just a little trickier to control the edge alignment. Thank you, Void. Been watching for around 5 to 6 years. Now I just want to say thank you for the content and videos. I appreciate that. Hope you stick around for another 5 to... well, I don't know if I can make it for another 5 to 6 years. Not because I don't want to, but because it keeps getting harder to, keep it sustainable. Uphill battle, as said. But I'm not going to get into that. I've ranted enough. Hey, Frank, and thank you. How's it going? How was your holidays? Pretty uneventful. I could just take off a couple of days, but generally I had to keep grinding. So nothing much to say, really. Just did a review on the A&A Highland Claymore sword. Oh, nice. Yeah, I used to own that back in 2008, 9-ish, 10? No, must have been 8 or 9. It's almost as if one shouldn't make sweeping generalizations about sword types and their use. I know, right? What a revelation. It's almost like shit's complicated, yo. Right? That's why the answer is so often, it depends. Because there's a myriad of factors. It's almost like reality is kind of complex or something. I don't know. Of course, a lot of people don't like that. They don't like that idea at all. They want things to be simple. Black and white, right and wrong, and good and bad. And yep, they apply that to things and people and concepts and everything. Just because it makes life feel easier or seem easier. It's not, but it makes you think that. It's a false comfort. Yeah. Shit's complicated, yo. Scal 2025. Yep. Take that to the bank. Are medieval knights more skilled than modern HEMA practitioners when it comes to fighting with a longsword? Wait for it. It depends. There were good knights and bad knights. I mean, in terms of skill. Ethically, probably too. Well, definitely. Although, it's already too simplified. Most of them are probably somewhere in the gray area. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, what? Are we talking like the hypothetical ideal specimen? You know, like the most skilled knight ever versus the most skilled HEMA fighter. If that's the case, then knight, simply because their life depended on it, right? Now, I feel like there's a difference. There will probably be a difference between armored and unarmored. I feel like armored, the knight is going to win, hands down. You know, like even if it's a HEMA fighter who specializes in armored fighting, I feel like that's just the knight's bread and butter. Unarmored, yes, they would still know how to fight unarmored, obviously, but it wouldn't be as important. All right, so in that case, the HEMA fighter might have more of a chance. But it's still like we're talking someone who does it for a living and to survive versus someone who does it for fun, right? Even if they're serious about it, even if they're competitive, I don't think it's the same thing, you know? And the HEMA fighter might pull some shit that would get them points, but might get them killed in a real fight, you know? Realistically. There's that too. Hey Peter, how you doing? And thanks. Please review T-Rex Arms AC1, AC0, and AC1.5. What? The what now? For a moment, I was almost wondering, like, is this gonna be like some sex toy or something? Are you trolling me? Not for any particular reason, not because I expect you to troll me, but just like, if I seen some name that I haven't seen before, there's always a chance, right? No, I see that it's body armor. It's like, at this point, I'm so skeptical about things I see, you know, because so often people do try to mess with you. I don't take anything at face value anymore. I'm just paranoid. I would never troll you. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I've seen you in on the streams plenty of times, so yeah, I don't see why you would. You haven't shown yourself to be a trollish personality. But you never know. Sometimes there's a heel turn, IRL, you know? Anyway. Yeah, it would be interesting to try to do some body armor tests. Speaking of which, there's something I want to talk to you about. It's probably not going to happen. In fact, most definitely not. But I just want to show you, you know, because it's cool. Hang on. Just gonna grab the pictures. I found something for sale on a gun forum that's super interesting, but awfully expensive, so I probably won't get it. It would be pretty neat to show it on the channel, but Let's see here. There. It's a shotgun cane. It fires 410 shells. Very rare. You know, this is, it doesn't say, let me see here. I don't think it says when it was made. There are some of these from the late 19th century, but because this is 410, it's got to be more recent than that. It's got to be 20th. It's probably not that old. It's probably like, I don't know, 50s, 60s, 70s, something like that. Is my guess, maybe 80s. Could be anything. But either way, pretty cool. It would be very interesting to show that on the channel. You know, use it on a zombie head or something. But it's $3,000, so it's not really happening. But I've been looking around lately for interesting firearms to test because I'm in one of those phases again. You know, it comes in waves. Like every now and then, I'm really back into guns and want to do stuff. You can make mud with a steel pipe and a nail. Yeah, kind of. Please review Adept Armor's Nova Steel armor parts. Well, it does look interesting. Basically, I would have to ask them to send me stuff because my budget is quite limited at the moment. Wait, hang on. They have reached out to me before, I just remember. Let me see. Yeah. They wanted to send me a buckler. That was like in summer last year. Gave them my P.O. box. Oh, right, they can't ship to P.O. boxes. Right, they wanted to ship from a different location to that P.O. box, but haven't heard since then. I actually forgot about it. So it was supposed to happen, but didn't. That's how it goes sometimes. There's so many things. I get so many emails where like someone's like, hey, do you want to review this? We can send you this and that, and then it doesn't go anywhere. Which is understandable because, I mean, I forget about it myself and then it gets buried in the inbox and all that. Does Canada have the antique firearm law? I'm assuming you're talking about antique firearms not requiring a license. If so, yes. You can get anything made before 1898, I believe it was. I can never remember if it was 98 or 89. I believe it's 98. Yeah, if it's antique, you don't need a license. You can just get it. Thanks, Arnab. The dumb question to ask, but any sword versus boiling pot of oil, who wins? Like, do you just pour the boiling oil over it, or do you boil the blade in the oil? If you boil it in the oil, That shouldn't really be enough to mess with the tempering. Or the heat treatment in general, I mean. Also depends on the type of oil, because of course it depends. It depends a lot, in fact. The smoke point can be anywhere between 107 degrees for safflower oil, so that wouldn't do shit, and 271 for avocado oil. Yeah, so if you just pour it over it, I'm pretty sure the sword's going to be fine. I mean, you might ruin the grip with it, but the blade's going to be fine. If you boil it in avocado oil for prolonged periods of time, that would probably mess with the heat treatment. Maybe. You'd be better off asking a bladesmith about that. Maybe they got cold feet because you're genuinely critical of everything you review. I mean, if they don't have confidence in their product, then yeah, maybe. Imagine ganking a dude with boiled avocado oil, the humiliation. What would be the most humiliating kind of oil to be scorched by? Extra virgin olive oil, maybe, for the extra burn. Butter, yeah. Coconut oil. I feel like getting boiled in lard would be... I mean, not that getting boiled in oil is fun at any rate, but I feel like that might be potentially even worse. I don't know. Baby oil? Yeah, well, good point. Titty oil? Oh no. Thanks, Alter Angel. What are your opinions on the carnivore diet? My honest opinion that you might find offensive. It's one of the worst fad diets ever. It's like you might as well just eat cigarettes. It's not going to be much less healthy. Rephrasing it, a guy attacking with a sword versus a guy throwing boiling oil. Who wins? Does the guy with the boiling oil have the high ground? If you just get some boiling oil, you're just doing this number. I don't think, no. It's just a matter of like approaching to bait the guy into tossing oil and then running away and then repeat, right? Not rinse and repeat, because you don't want to rinse yourself with the boiling oil, but you know, kite him. Kite him and then shank him when he's out of oil. Thanks, Peter. Thoughts of Disney show Amphibia, various weapons? I have not seen it, so I can't tell you, sorry. No idea. Looking at that art style, I'm pretty sure it would be pointless to say much about it because, hang on. I mean, look at it. This is not exactly screaming realism. There's like a grass sickle or something like. It would be completely pointless to analyze that. You know, I might as well talk about the realism in Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, Oop. It's like how effective is the plunger that Mario uses? Hey, I'm smoking right now. Okay. But you're not eating the cigarettes. You're smoking them. Which is worse, technically, but anyway. Boiling oil super soaker? Super soaker, you mean like the kind that's made of plastic? Yeah, what could boiling oil possibly do to the plastic? Fair enough with the Sonic part, right? Yeah, I just wouldn't know what to even say about that makes any sense. It's like some things are just, you know, stylistic. I wouldn't review what could possibly make a watch melt. You know, like looking at a certain painting and be like, pocket watches don't normally melt like that. What about the paleo diet? You mean like real paleo diet or the fat version? Because if you wanted to eat what people ate in Paleolithic times, that would be very different from what is being advertised as paleo diet now. And if you actually ate what they ate back then, it would be a lot less meat than you think. A lot more, you know, wild nuts and seeds and tubers and things of that nature, wild grains, fruits, plenty of them. Thanks again, Arnab. Come on, it's a dumb question. They throw napalm at a night. Napalm. That'd be fun. Also throw it. Been watching since 2012. Damn. That's been a hot minute. That is quite some dedication to this channel. In all its buffoonery. Guys, why are you bombarding me with questions about diets now? This is not a nutritionist stream, just to let you know. I mean, in all fairness, I've done a lot. I've looked into it, and I've done plenty of diets and everything, but I generally stay away from the fad diets, or at least look into it. You know, like, I would definitely recommend that you look up meta studies, specifically meta studies, because that's a study of other studies, right? So they take a bunch of available research, evaluate how good the methodology is and all that. It's much more accurate than looking at a single study, right? And if you look up keto meta-analyses, it's not the healthiest thing you can do. It's not the worst, but it also depends on exactly what. Because there are different versions of it. Like there's vegan keto and whatnot. There's a bunch of different interpretations of it. But generally, the research shows that saturated fat and cholesterol are not good for you. Not all diets work for everyone. There's the other thing, yeah. Genetics do play into it. Some people apparently are immune to the negative effect of cholesterol somehow. Just genetically. So if you eat what they eat, you might get your arteries clogged while they don't, you know. It's weird how that works. How do you even see how long you've been subbed? You have to go by your memory. You don't really see that. Some people have a faster metabolism too. Yes, and I hate those people. I want to go Shang Tsung on them and absorb their powers. Sindri is one of those. You've seen the skinny fuck in some of the videos. He's in good shape, but he can eat like a hippopotamus, and he stays skinny. I mean, in his case, it kind of goes the opposite way. Like he can't gain weight. He has to eat like 5,000 calories a day to gain weight. He's literally told me that when he eats 3,000 calories a day, he doesn't gain weight. And no, he's not a roofer or anything. He doesn't do like strenuous physical labor the whole day. That's just his metabolism. You know, if he was a construction worker, he'd probably burn 8,000 calories a day and would have to eat like a whole pig. But oh, sorry, that's a bad. That's he has a pet pig, so that's a very bad example of a high calorie meal. Yeah, so he'd have to eat a horse, shall we say? A horse slathered in peanut butter. Castle doors often had ports overhead through which hot oil was poured on the invading soldiers. Talk about worst way to go. Oh yeah, that would be definitely one of the most painful ways. Yikes. You can't do anything about it either. What are you going to do? Pour water on it? I had to eat 5,000 calories a day in order to gain weight. Damn. Give me your power. Give it to me. I'll gain weight on like 2,500 a day. In order to lose fat at a halfway decent rate, I need to go like 1,600 to 1,800 calories a day, which for me is torture. Looks at a cake and boom, gained weight. Ah, well. It does usually involve eating the cake, but... Dieting improperly can also crash your metabolism. Yeah, but that's definitely not the case for me. Like I've you know, gone through so many phases of very different eating and very different calorie amounts. So even I probably did ruin my metabolism back in 2017 when I just ate 1,500 calories or whatever a day and worked out like a maniac. But I'm pretty sure I fixed it again with all the stupid shit I did afterwards. You know? Thanks, Bobo Ninja. Stay awesome, my man. I would have to get awesome first, but thanks anyway. What's a kind of game you don't personally like? Sports games. There's nothing more boring than that to me. Oh. Worse. I think I would play a sports game before I play a clicker. An idle game. It's not even a game. You're not even fucking playing it. Pardon my French. Mon frère. You were born in the wrong era. Not losing weight easily would have been a superpower in the medieval ages. Yeah, I know, right? But no. No, instead I had to be born into the era of excess and addictive hyper-processing of foods and food and all that. Not that I would have wanted to live in the Middle Ages, but this in particular is not very compatible. Do you have any feelings on the Metatron? What did you do? Not trying to start any drama, but I feel like it's moved into some reactionary corners of return culture? Okay. I don't really know. I do not know what he does generally. I mean, I don't really watch other people a whole lot because I'm just too busy with my own grind. Also, I don't really want to be influenced specifically either. I just want to do my own thing, you know? Not that there's anything wrong with taking inspiration from others or seeing what others are up to and responding to it. That's totally fine. It's just a lot of the time I just focus on getting through the everyday grind. That's really all it is. And when I'm done with work, I'm just so tired that I don't even want to watch anything related to what I've just been doing. You know. Yeah, it's nuts that Metatron posts a video a day. I couldn't imagine doing that. I mean, I would have to do things very differently. Like, I spend way too much time on an individual video. Like, I really tried to up it back to, like, every other day. Or ideally more often than that. But I can't manage. It's too much. I just spend too much time on each video. It's doing 2 a week is already challenging, let alone like every other day or more often. I know it works, it helps, but You sound depressed? Huh? What did I do? I feel like I've been pretty energetic. I'm popped up on caffeine enough. Why would you say that?
Have you been grumpy?
No, not at all. I've been pretty energetic. Like,
Well, energetic
I
doesn't
can't-
mean everything.
I
well,
can't-
In either case.
I can't do any more than, like, before I go full Energizer Bunny. Ching, 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 ching.
Energy is not the only point about depression. It might be about mood.
Yeah, what's wrong with my mood?
I don't know. I haven't been
I've been fairly positive by my standards.
by your standards.
Shush.
Uh-huh.
Get your tea. I know what you're here for. Tea. Thanks, Arden Party. Gotta go soon, for real. What fantasy weapon do you wish was real? And why is it the lightsaber? It's not, sorry. Which color you go for? No. Shard blades. Better than lightsaber. Sorry. Thanks, Arnab. Did crossbow arrows break more than traditional bows hitting armor? If anything, less. Because a crossbow bolt is shorter and thicker than an arrow. No. Shush. You will not interrupt my stream with some bullshit. Isn't it annoying how many spam calls you get nowadays? It's like I'm in the habit now. It's so bad that I'm in the habit of just ignoring everything, and like if they don't leave a voicemail, I just block them because it's most likely spam. It is. It really is. That's just how it is. Okay, supposedly there's someone at the... Can you check the door? Sure. They didn't knock or anything, but my camera tells me that there's someone suspicious. Who's there? It's fine. It's like mail or something. I get packages every now and then. You read Sanderson? Yeah, that's why I said Shard Blade. I feel like over-pronouncing the D, because I know what it sounds like otherwise. Let me just put it there. Because if you say Shard Blade, it sounds very unpleasant, you know? You gotta make sure that it's a D and not a T. You gotta get the D.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, hopeful generation that exists still. Anyway, not a question, but I've been watching your content for years. You're pretty great. Hope you've been doing well, and hope this year will treat you good. Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll see about that, I suppose. I'm not going to make any statements anymore. Ever since that one video, well, it wasn't a public video. It was like a Patreon thing where I talked about how I'm not sure how this is all going to work out, and if we can make it, and what 2020 will bring. Ever since then, I'm not going to talk anything. I'm just going to shut up. I will not make any kind of statement about this year. None whatsoever. Thanks, Frank. Getting a tattoo of a claymore sword on my right side. Wish me luck. Okay, good luck. I hope you don't need it, but... French toast, pancake, waffles? Yes. I'm a fat ass. What do you expect me to say? Yes. Did not mean anything bad. Sorry if it sounded that way. No, I was just confused. I was just like, what do you mean? Don't worry, I'm pretty chill. Like, sometimes I might be confused by something you say. I might be, but I'm not offended. All right, chill. It's fine.
He's utterly unaware of how his tone sounds.
What are you talking about? What does my tone sound like?
See, guys, that's what I mean.
What does my tone sound like?
Uh-huh.
How dare you? Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't know what my tone sounds like. I legit don't. I just talk. I just, I vibrate my vocal cords and sounds come out and I shape them with my mouth and tongue and stuff. It's like, I don't know what happens after that. So if I sound cranky, I'm sorry. That's just me. I'm just a cranky fuck, I guess.
That's legit.
Thanks, Alter Angel. What's the meaning of life? 42. We all know that. I know you busted your leg in training a few years ago. A few years ago. Yeah, like 10? Almost? 9 years. 8 or 9 years. I still feel that knee sometimes. It still acts up every now and then, particularly when it's cold and damp. That knee hurts. After over 8 years. But overall, it's okay. It acts up sometimes, but overall, it's not too bad. The two shoulders are worse. And the right elbow now. And the left ankle. And I'm just going to stop here. Your tone's snarky tired. I've had enough caffeine to kill a cow, probably. And I'm still sounding tired? God's damn it. I can't win. Oh well. But snarky that's just the default setting. I'm sorry. There's nothing to be done. In fact, I'm not sorry. How dare you? He's less cranky than usual? Yeah, someone knows me. You don't even know what cranky is.
No, they do not.
Mm-hmm. Good for you that you don't.
Where's that good for me?
No. I was saying you toward the chat.
Okay.
If I'm cranky, your asses get banned. No, I don't usually do that, but... yeah. It's just the general ennui, I mean, how can you look at the world and not be at least somewhat cranky?
I specifically sent you a list of the 84 greatest achievements we done last year.
Right, I haven't actually watched that yet, but I meant to. It is good to every now and then look at the positives. I almost sent boiling oil, thought it was an intruder. You sent boiling oil? You're gonna send boiling oil via mail? That better be express mail. Caffeine doesn't do it for me anymore. I need to bite into a jumper cable in order to actually wake up. Yikes. Just lick the battery. Skull not being cranky would be weird. There's a lot of slander here,
Just accept it!
I feel personally attacked. I might have to start banning people who discredit my personality. No, I won't. But how dare you, still. Let me prove definitively just how not cranky I am right now.
Love, don't forget to state out loud that you're being sarcastic. This is the
Oh, yes, yes. For the autistic viewers, this is sarcasm. What?
bad.
What? Am I gonna get cancelled now?
Yes.
No, I didn't mean it in a disparaging way. It's just one of the symptoms, you know? Difficulty detecting sarcasm or tone of voice or anything. It's not my fault. I didn't make that up. This is not like anti-autism propaganda. They know it themselves too, right? Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if you can't pick up on my tone of voice and facial expression, then it's like omega level autism. Yes, yes, I'll cut it out.
No, it's just
Offensive. I mean no offense. I'm just pointing things out.
I hope you know how that just sounded.
I'm married to an autist and I can vouch for that. See? I'm not making shit up. And Frank says he's autistic and still got that. See? Okay, good. So I'm being obvious enough. That's good. All sarcasm and kidding aside, I have seen a bunch of comments from people. I don't know if they have autism or not. Like, just that aside, who took a very obvious joke at face value and got offended by it. And I was sitting there like, bro, how much do you need me to contort my face and put on a sarcastic tone of voice to get it?
If you're incapable of reading that, it doesn't matter which level.
I guess. That makes me wonder, like, how do people interpret that then? He's doing weird things with his face while saying offensive things. I don't get it. I really shouldn't make any statements. I don't know what it's like, so feel free to explain it to me. Thanks, Alter Angel. As a diagnosed autist, no offense taken. In fact, appreciated. All right. Well, there you go. Thanks, Arnab. If coffee doesn't make you try boiling oil, comes in flavor of veg, non-veg, motor oil, and lard. Veg flavor sounds interesting. Don't contort nothing. Least offensive stream ever. I mean, I try to be self-aware. Like if I...
Wait. Boiling oil? So, should I just stick this in a microwave for you?
Oh shit. Boiling peanut butter. I'm still kind of disturbed by how in Project Zomboid you purify water in a plastic bottle by microwaving it. It's like, yes, you can do that, but only if you want a microplastic tumor in your brain within the next 15 minutes. Like, we're saturated enough with microplastics as is. I love how he avoids my comment. Of course, and that's the one I end up seeing. You could have just repeated it, you know? Shut the fuck up! One more spam call. I will microwave this phone.
I know you want a new one. That is not the excuse you need.
Yeah. I am a little cranky right now. I will admit that. Spam calls make me cranky. Or like any calls, quite frankly. Okay. I have ADHD, so I just think you're being normal. Finally, someone understands.
Says the ADHD guy to the ADHD guy. Really?
That's the point.
Yeah, I know. I'm just sitting here. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He's gonna take that as validation.
Yes, of course. That's my tribe. Screams and shakes his phone, not cranky at all. Yeah, like I just said, this made me cranky just now. But it just washed over me quickly, and now I'm back to zen-like calm. Too much self-awareness, some things are just better to not overthink. No, overthink all the things.
It's your job.
That is kind of part of my job, yeah.
Oh my god.
Are you doubting my zen-like calm, sir? How dare you? Zen-like crankiness. Yeah. Thanks, hopeful generation. I tell my British girlfriend that I microwave my tea, and her response is the funniest thing ever. I'm not sorry. Yeah, you couldn't hear that hiss, but there was an audible hiss. Microwaving tea is just
You monster!
monstrous, yes. And that's how you can distinguish a tea snob from a coffee snob. That's probably a lie. There are probably coffee snobs who would lose it at the suggestion of microwaving coffee too. I wouldn't do it myself, but I don't think I would necessarily bat an eye at it. When I was in school, I sometimes ate spoonfuls of instant coffee. I have no leg to stand on to judge anyone's coffee habits. I'm a savage. As long as the caffeine makes it into my system, I don't care. That's not true. I do like tasty coffee, but as long as the caffeine makes it into my system, whatever. Just if there were little caffeine EpiPens, I mean, I've had caffeine pills, but it's more enjoyable in the form of coffee. So, yeah. Yeah, that is pretty hardcore, the instant coffee thing. But I haven't done that in no, not quite 20 years. Oh shit. Not quite 30 years, I mean. I'm old! I haven't done that in about 26, 27 years. Your zen-like calm is about to be disturbed by hot peanut butter. Sleep with an eye open, man. He's threatening me. I will... hang on. I will threaten you with this chapstick. I actually have a knife here, but that's not as funny. Thanks, Wolf's Vein. I said the correct responses. Yes, dear. Learn to be more submissive to your significant other. What? No. There's no submissiveness here. This is an equal opportunity relationship. That sounds like... that kind of sounds like we both abuse each other. We don't, but... Skull looks good for his age. It's another one of those, like, well, he looks okay for his age. It's like an underhanded compliment at best, or a veiled diss at worst. Do you even know how old I am? What assumptions are you even making? You're right, I'm not old. In fact, we're the same age. You look 2025's 40, which is like 1980's 25. Uh-huh. 148. Yes, you're right. So we started this stream with, you have a lot of hair for your age, and now we've arrived at, you look good for your age. It's my own fault. I keep playing up the old man Skall thing. Hey, damn kids, no respect. It's my own fault. Clearly, I can't pass as a 20-year-old anymore. Mentally, I'm about early 20s. I have the maturity of, yeah, maybe early 20s. With the exception of dad jokes. But there's plenty of dirty jokes too. I try not to let them sneak too much into videos. Did you have to clean the mouse roller? Yes. Yep, I do know how to operate a rotary phone. In fact, my parents had a really old one. It was probably from... Let me see. Let me see if I can find a picture that looks similar to the phone that we had when I grew up. Almost, but not quite. Not that old. Okay, let me just show you meanwhile. Browser. Where's the damn window there? Kinda like this, but not quite that old. I mean, it was pretty old looking. Not exact, fairly close, but not exactly like that. Again, almost, kinda. Definitely older than this. It was really more that style, including that that mouthpiece there. I can't find one that looks exactly like the one that I remember growing up, but it was... pretty much that, just less ornate and darker color. It was like a dark brown. Yeah. I mean, it was already outdated back then. Just to make that clear. It was already an old phone, even then. No, not the dreadful chapstick. I'm losing power. Let me get some coffee. Yes. You get your coffee. I like that phone. But yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass to dial. It took a little while. Long numbers. It took a hot minute, yeah. Thanks, Alvarin. No, I never had a Garfield phone. can't see you or hear you. That's someone tell this person that that's not on my end. Refresh. Tell him to refresh the window. That should help. Have you tried unplugging it and replugging it? Yep, stream is working fine for everybody else. Yeah. The pain of rotary phones, a lot of people don't... I mean, a lot of people didn't even grow up with, you know, the button ones, you know, like analog buttons, let alone rotary. You think flip phones are retro? No. Yeah, that's the thing. Like with the buttons, you can just go beep 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 beep. But with the rotary phone, you have to stick your finger in, you know, turn it to the number, let go, and then it goes, you know, ratchets back, and then you got to do it again. It's a bit of a process. They work cool though. Thanks again, Arnab. Serious question. If you had a 56 HRC sword and I had the same size 60 HRC file, who would win? Sword. It's like, yeah, would I not want to parry your file because it would wreck my sword? Yeah. But would I stab you? Yes. You know? Still rather the sword. You misdialed on the last number? Oh yeah, misdialing with a rotary phone. Frustrating. Easy to do. And sometimes you would call someone else completely and they're like confused. Huh, who's that? And you would often get... That's where they are. I'm sorry, I just reached into my pocket and found the earbuds that have been missing for the past 3 months. Yeah. There's an ADHD moment right there. Well, I found them. I mean, who remembers randomly showing up at a friend's house? And then sometimes you gotta ask the mother, like, is so-and-so there to play? Just imagine in like in current times, you know, like even if it's a friend, they just randomly show up at your house. You'd be like, bitch, get the fuck out of here, I gotta vacuum. You know? How dare you just show up unannounced? Right? That was my entire childhood, wandering around to find my friends, yeah. And you had friends, like physical friends, in the area. You would hang out physically in meat space, right? Those were the times. Like you would play video games in the same room with physical controllers and stuff. I used to go outside, yeah. Back in my day, I mean, back in my day, there used to be hangout places. Like you could hang out at the mall, or I mean, you could still do that, but there were other places as well. There were a lot more public places to socialize in. Whereas now there's just no loitering signs and stuff. Like, and you wonder why people feel isolated. I'm really starting to go on a boomer rant here. I don't mean to, I'm just saying. A room as in lobby? I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah. Indeed. Oh god, you play video games together inside? That's what old people do, yeah. It's like, watch out, Gramps, if you keep talking, your dentures are gonna loosen up. We used to socialize in person. Could you make a video about how axes work historically? Yeah, I guess I can quickly record a video like picking up an axe and, you know, dropping it on something. Like, this is how you chop with an axe. Video done. Thanks for watching, guys. No seriousness, without snark, I have made a video about how one might fight with a two-handed axe. You can look that up if you like. When people had something meaningful to say. Yeah, instead of communicating via memes exclusively. Right? Back in my day when people used words to convey meaning. Even shitty memes have meaning. It's kind of... And we communicated via memes too back then. They were just different memes. And they weren't on the internet because we weren't on the internet. But teenagers always babbled nonsense. That's just the world, you know? The ancient Greeks complained about the youth. It's nothing new. Nothing new under the sun. If a khopesh was made out of Damascus steel instead of bronze, do you think in time it could be more popular than a katana? No. Know that the weebs wouldn't latch onto it because it's not made in Japan. That's kind of a thing, right? If longswords were Japanese, we would probably have all the myths surrounding longswords. I'm only half joking. I think that's definitely part of it. Romans memed, yeah, it's true. There's lots of weird Roman graffiti. I still remember there's one Roman graffiti where a servant called the lord of the house, I guess you would say, a rat's ass. Anus rodentum is what he called him. Literally rat's ass. Best places to hang out nowadays are small shops where the owner knows you. Yeah, that's true. Board game shops, yep, that's a good point. Boba tea, coffee, small restaurant, yep. There is that. Was the other sort you said you had trouble getting to cut the Dorothea from Landsknecht? Yep, that's the one. They made it like that intentionally because they said that they looked into the use and found some sources to suggest that they were not really intended to cut very well. I haven't looked into that to confirm it or disconfirm it. It seems a bit odd to me. Like, of course, a somewhat sharp metal bar will still do damage, obviously. I find it hard to imagine, like, what's the point of, not sharpening it properly? Especially if it's single edged, because then you still have the spine as a literal bludgeon if you need it for whatever reason, right? Where have you been? I haven't seen you since last year. Yeah, see, at the start of this stream, I was poking fun at the haven't seen you since last year dad jokes, and I was musing who unironically makes that joke. Well, there we go. What's that sword on the chair? It is... let me see. Does it have a particular name? Let me just refresh my memory here from this email. It is from Yomikuni, but I don't think there's a particular name. Right, it's an old model. Yeah. Anyway, it's a very strongly curved katana. Very strongly curved. That's probably not a good idea. Just gotta put it down like this. I asked that question 5 times and he misses it. What question? Just repeat it, man. The sword's name is George, guys. Yeah. This is the last and hardest question from me. Uh-oh. How does a sharpened piece of steel make one fall in love with the use, history, culture, and aesthetics? By being the sharpest piece of steel ever, obviously. It's the sharpness that inspires an interest in everything. No, swords are cool. It's the aura of coolness. It's the magic. Oh, okay, that was a question about the sword on the arm. Okay, well, then I did answer it. See, sometimes I answer questions without even fully processing the username. So sometimes I don't even notice that this was the same person. Helps if you're a channel member and your name is highlighted and, has a little icon. Just saying. Swords are cool is a valid answer to so many questions. Many questions, yeah. Why do we have runaway inflation? Because swords are cool. How do you make 10 pounds of fat look good? Put nipples on them! Come on, that's an old one. Thanks for signing up, Jack. Someone took it to heart. Now you will be marked. Not as a target, but as a VIP. Swords were always status symbols, yeah. They're supposed to impress you. That's kind of the thing, right? They're supposed to inspire. Yes, you're being noticed. With your flint dagger. As you stay a member, your weapon will upgrade. It'll go from a flint dagger all the way to a longsword, I think. It's been a while since I made those. Next one I think is a bronze dagger. Yay for boobies, indeed. Always. Should have done this a long time ago. I usually just do the paid message. Yeah. Well, better late than never. Seriously though, I appreciate it. It all helps. Every membership and every super chat, everything helps kind of balance out the budget, or sort of. I mean, it's my own fault, kind of, for just not really accepting sponsorships anymore. Hardly, other than, like, Thorum, basically, last year. That was, like, the one. I'm just too picky with it. And I'm vindicated, too. Like, the, the honey scandal just recently shows me that, yeah, okay, it's yet another bullet that I dodged. I got an offer, too, and I was like, nah. It's good to be picky, but it's not good for the budget. Thank you, Inquisitor Steel. Greetings, my friend and I start sword training this year. He trains Viking-themed swords, and I go for Bolognese tradition sword art courses with shield. Do you have tips what I could study at home? Bolognese, I practice only a little bit. I'm not super familiar with, but I mean, you can always look up the manuscripts, like on Wichtenauer. Wichtenauer.com. You didn't mention... No, you did mention courses. So in that case, you can always ask your instructor. That's always the first line of... Not attack, but the first line of learning. Storm the Bronze Company. It's a ring maker. Maker sounds weird. Yeah. It's a small family business. They make a variety of different rings in some really interesting materials. I'm not going to give you like a promo rundown right now, but it's genuinely good. Got my wedding ring from Thorum because he told us about them. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I got one as well. I mean, I have two. The fancier one I only wear, on special occasions, because this one here is it's a bit more scratch resistant. It's like for everyday wearing. What you talk, like someone brings up Nagamaki. I hope you don't mean that one there. That's not a Nagamaki. Would the Nagamaki and the long hilt dao fall in the glaive category? No, I wouldn't say that. A glaive to me is a full-size polearm. Thanks, Crikey. I contribute with obnoxious super chats. I love Chun-Li. I'm more of a Cammy guy myself, but nothing wrong with Chun-Li. This would be a very short handle for a Nagamaki. You know, try like almost tripling that handle length. I feel like that could be a very, very rough rule of thumb. If you double the length of a katana, it's a nodachi. If you triple it, it's a nagamaki. Don't quote me on that because, again, it's very rough. But, like, yeah, sort of. I feel like it sort of applies. Triple or even quadruple. The hot versus cute debacle. I don't know. I don't think. No, I wouldn't agree with that. Like, especially Cammy in Street Fighter 6. Not cute. That's definitely firmly in the hot territory. I mean, why not both? Yeah. Fair enough, I guess. Don't give up on the Dorothea. The huge yaman puts enough weight back into the tip that the sweet spot is higher than you expect. No, I'm aware, but have you seen the video I put up just yesterday? It gives you a look at the edge and oof. It's like hella steep. That's worse than an axe grind. And I mean splitting axe. Chun-Li to the left of me, Cammy to the right. Here I am. Not standing up anytime soon. I feel like that's more than you can handle. Not that it would prevent anyone from trying, but I'm just saying that's... Anyway. I'm beginning to think weapon discussions at this point just are pointless. Real fantasy, historical, mythological is all hypothetical. You're not entirely wrong, but like there's still plenty of statements you can make within context and tests you can do, and you just need to be specific. You can't just be like talking in really general terms, because otherwise you'll get hit with the big "it depends" paddle. Is enjoying a conversation pointless? No. So much of a society lacks context these days. Yeah. Lots of statements on the internet have no context. And how many statements on the internet are made by literal bots? It's getting worse. Thank you, Mutfin. Have some pennies, good sir. Tips hat. Hopefully not a fedora. Or, well, actually a fedora would be fine. Hopefully not a trilby. I did not read pennies at first. Yeah, I see what you read. Dead internet theory indeed. Did you see that Meta rolled out some AI profiles that people couldn't block? shit's getting more dystopian by the minute, I swear. It's... And... like, satire is beyond dead. It's been resurrected and killed again. I keep seeing so many things where like... That would have been flat out parody like a few decades ago. Yep. What can you do? More like tired. Yeah. Yes, it is tiring to see. Indeed. It's like so often you just don't know if you're having a discussion with someone on the internet, you know, in a comment or in a chat or whatever. Like, quite often you don't know it. It could be a Russian bot, or it doesn't have to be Russian. It could be just a whatever. You know, not a real person. But, you know, the stuff has gotten good enough to be able to convincingly fake real conversations. In fact, sometimes the bots sound smarter than the real people. So, that doesn't help. Nah. Excuse me. Skall is dying. We're all dying, just at different rates. How do you know you are not a bot? You mean Blade Runner style? There's no way. There's no way to know. But always does the stuff of like, do we live in a simulation or whatever? It's pointless. It's completely pointless because if we do, there's nothing we can do about it. It doesn't change our experience. You know, as even if our subjective experience is completely fake, that doesn't change that we have it and that we're trapped in it and that there's nothing to be done about it, you know? Yeah, unfortunately, taking the red pill just means buy my grifter book. Or my fake supplements that are super overpriced. And have soy in them, even though I proclaim that soy feminizes you. You know, this kind of thing. Rutger Hauer was a very good artificial in Blade Runner. Oh yeah, that's a great performance. Isn't more understanding of the fundamental reality of nature? Well, that's a problem too. You can't. It's all just hypotheses. You can come up with whatever unfalsifiable hypothesis. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, as a thought experiment, okay. It can be like, oh yeah, that's interesting, but ultimately it has no practical value because like there is no way to falsify it or verify it for that matter, right? So you can come up with whatever. You can proclaim that we live on Discworld. I mean that would be falsifiable, but you know what I mean. You could proclaim that our universe is sitting on a turtle, Discworld style. You can always just postulate something beyond the detectable reality, you know? Doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, it means something, it's just What are you going to do with it? It only means what each individual wants it to mean, yeah. Pretty much. It was supposed to be a joke, but I'm glad it would spawn a discussion. Yeah, why not? Dating advice: grifters are financially dependent on their audience remaining single. It's true. See Wicked yet? No. Still need to see Nosferatu. Gonna get me a sandwich. Happy New Year and all the rest. Happy New Year to you as well, and enjoy that Sammy. What's the point of a Q&A if you're not going to answer any questions? I've been answering questions the entire time. Where have you been? What parallel... Oh, wait. That's probably a bot. Never mind. Why am I even engaging? What are you going to do with it when you find out? Yeah, that's more of a question. What you gonna do about it, bro? If you find out that we're technically all powered by pressed unicorn juice fed into a giant machine, just logged in. Anything new and exciting on the sword front? I mean, I just showed this thing earlier. You might have seen yesterday's video. And yeah, it'll just continue like that. By the way, Bloggerty, I got that box. I might as well show what I got briefly, at least one part of it. "3D printed mail." This is just a small piece. There's also a bigger piece. By the way, the smaller pieces that you send I won't be able to test them. They're too small, but it's still good to see the different patterns. And one thing I'm noticing is it's when you upscale it, it's good that the pieces are thicker, so they're stronger overall. But there's such large gaps. I feel like you could stab right through that. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Okay, so I can rip them to test strength. It feels like I should be able to tear that apart pretty easily, but not necessarily. I mean, this kind of torsion wouldn't really happen when you wear armor, but yeah, we'll see. the what then question should be asked more often. Also, why are we trying to find this out? I mean, I feel like that's less important because sometimes just acquiring knowledge for its own sake, just to learn more about the world, is its own reward, you know. And general research is pretty important because sometimes you'll discover something very important that becomes a life changer, that you know, like a discovery that leads to some kind of technological innovation or invention or new medical procedure or whatever. That's very helpful, but you don't know always what you're looking for exactly. Sometimes it's good to just find out more about the world so you can make those very useful accidental discoveries, right? Anyway, I've been streaming for 2 hours and the day is still long. There's still plenty to do. So I'm just gonna wrap it up here. So thanks for hanging out. Hope you had fun. Thanks for the super chats. Definitely appreciate it. And I'll see you next time, whenever that might be.